Brothers and sisters, there comes a moment in every believer's life when you can't sit in the boat any longer. The boat may feel safe, it's familiar, it's floating, but it's also limited. And I came to tell somebody this morning your miracle isn't in the boat, it's on the water. In Matthew 14, we find the disciples tossed by the wind and waves, fear gripping their hearts, and suddenly, in the middle of the storm, Jesus comes walking on the water, not running, not rowing, but walking, like the storm wasn't even a problem. And Peter, oh bold, unpredictable Peter, he didn't wait for safety. He said, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come. And Jesus said one word to him, come. That's the word for today, come. Step out, move, trust, because while the others stayed stuck in the boat, Peter experienced the supernatural. He walked where only God can hold you up. Many believers want breakthrough, but aren't willing to take the first step. They pray for the miraculous, but stay seated in fear. But today, God is calling you out, not to sink, but to walk. Will you answer the call today? And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. So he said, come. Matthew chapter 14, verse 28 through 29. Peter did something bold, something that didn't make sense in the natural. He asked Jesus to call him out of the boat. Now understand, it was safer in the boat. It was logical. It was working, but Peter wasn't looking for safety. He was hungry for Jesus. He said, Lord, if that's really you, call me out. And Jesus responded with one word that still shakes the atmosphere today. Come. Let me tell you, every miracle begins with movement. The supernatural starts the moment you step out in faith. You can't walk on water with one foot in the boat. You've got to shift your weight onto the word. Brothers and sisters, some of us are waiting on God to move, but he's waiting on us to take the first step. Abraham had to leave his country. Moses had to stretch out his rod. The woman with the issue of blood had to press through the crowd. Peter had to step out of the boat. Faith doesn't wait for perfect conditions. If you're waiting for the wind to stop before you obey, you'll never move. Obedience often begins while the storm is raging. And here's the truth. Yes, Peter would later start to sink, but before he sank, he walked. He experienced a moment no one else did, but because he was perfect, not because he was perfect, sorry, but because he stepped. So I ask you today, what's the step Jesus is calling you to take? What is your boat? That comfort zone keeping you from the miracle? What if your breakthrough isn't delayed by God, but by your fear of stepping? Jesus is still saying, come. And if he's calling you, he'll hold you. The water may look unstable, but when Jesus is on it, you can walk where others sink. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. Now hear this. The storm didn't stop when Peter stepped out. The wind was still blowing. The waves were still crashing. The sky was still dark. And that's exactly where faith is forged, in the middle of the storm. See, many want a calm sea before they step. But God says, step into the storm, and I'll show you my strength. Peter didn't sink because he lacked faith. He sank because he got distracted. He took his eyes off of Jesus and focused on the waves. Let me tell you something every faith walker needs to know. Storms don't stop your purpose, they strengthen it. The enemy uses storms to scare you. God uses storms to grow you. Faith doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you keep walking even when fear screams. The waves were real, the fear was real, but Jesus was closer than the wind. When Peter began to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus didn't hesitate. He immediately reached out and caught him. Some of you are in a storm right now, whether it's a financial wind blowing, health waves crashing, doubt, fear, discouragement, trying to knock you down. But if you're still walking, if you're still praying, if you're still worshiping through the tears, your faith is growing in the storm. Can I preach this real? There are some storms that don't come to destroy you, they come to reveal you, to show you what's inside of you, to show you who's walking with you. Jesus didn't abandon Peter. He didn't rebuke him for stepping out. He helped him walk again. So lift your head, brothers and sisters. Don't let the storm make you doubt the call. If Jesus called you out, then he will carry you through. Faith may tremble, but it won't drown. And don't miss this. Peter walked back to the boat with Jesus. He went down, but he didn't stay down. Why? Because Jesus builds your faith even in the middle of your fear. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Matthew chapter 14, verse 31. Let's get this in our spirit. Jesus didn't let Peter fall far. The moment Peter cried out, "Lord, save me," Jesus reached out and caught him immediately. Aren't you glad for that kind of Savior who doesn't wait until you've figured it all out? He doesn't say, "Swim back to me." He says, "I've got you." Because when your heart is after him, even if your faith stumbles, his grace catches you. Notice something powerful. Jesus didn't scold Peter for stepping out. He questioned his doubt, not his daring. That means your faith doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. It just has to be pointed in the right direction toward Jesus. And don't miss this. Peter walked again. He didn't swim back to the boat. He walked with Jesus back through the same storm. That's restoration. That's strengthening. That's what happens when you trust Jesus with your steps, even if you slip. Some of you feel like you've failed. You stepped out and now you're sinking. Maybe you tried and got hurt. You prayed and didn't see the answer. You believed, but it didn't go how you thought. Here's the word for you today. Jesus still strengthens walkers. He doesn't throw you out for sinking. He lifts you up and teaches you how to stand again. And when Peter and Jesus stepped back into the boat, the storm ceased. The wind died down, and everyone in that boat began to worship, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." Catch that. Your faith walk becomes a witness. Your obedience becomes someone else's breakthrough. Because when Jesus strengthens you in public, others will recognize his power in you. So today, brothers and sisters, don't be afraid of the fall. Trust in the hand that holds you. Your storm will cease. Your faith will grow. And your testimony will give God all of the glory. Brothers and sisters, we've seen it clear through Peter's story. Faith doesn't grow in the shallow. It grows on the waves. And today, Jesus is still calling his people to step out, not just sit back, not just admire the water walkers, but be one. Some of you are in the boat and you're hearing Jesus saying, "Come." You've been waiting for the right time, the right filling, the right sign, but your miracle won't meet you in that boat. It'll meet you on the water. Yes, the waves are real. Yes, the wind is loud. Yes, you may tremble, but when you move at his word, he will meet you there. He will catch you when you fall. He will walk you back in victory, and he will strengthen your faith like never before. So here's the call. If you're ready to trust him, to obey him, to take that step, don't wait. Your miracle is not where you sit, it's where you step. Get out of the boat and let Jesus carry you to the impossible.